Hello, welcome once again to my online YouTube video banking tutorial. Today's topic is the CD, standing for Certificate of Deposit. My goals here today are to explain what is a certificate of deposit, what are some of the pros, what are some of the cons, what are some of the different types, and how do you know if you got a good one. So, okay, starting off. What is a CD? I'm going to start off talking about a fixed rate CD because that's by far the most common kind and it's the easiest to understand. And then later on I'll talk about some of the different types, and I'll do that just by comparing them to a fixed rate CD once you understand that concept. A fixed rate CD is essentially a special kind of savings account that you're not allowed to put any money into except for your initial deposit, and you're not allowed to take any money out of it for a certain period of time, which you specify. Maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe 2 years, whatever the bank's offering. So you put in, say $1,000, and you promise the bank that you're not going to make any more deposits and you're not going to make any more withdrawals. Say for 12 months. We'll use 12 months as an example. Why would you want to do that? Why don't you just put it in a savings account? In a savings account, if you want to take your money out, you just make a withdrawal. With a CD, it's kind of stuck in there. Well, the advantage to doing that is that the bank is willing to pay you a much higher interest rate because they know exactly where that money is. They can invest it a lot more aggressively because they know in the CD that you're not going to need it back for a while. So the bank's got a lot more clarity on how long that money is going to be sitting there. So they pay you a higher interest rate. For example, say you put $1,000 into a fixed rate CD for 12 months. 12-month CD is paying maybe 5%. A statement savings account is paying 0.4%. 0.4% of $1,000, your money sits in there all year, you earn $4. You put that $1,000 into the CD, it sits in there all year. At the end of the year, 5% of $1,000, you just made $50 for doing nothing except for having your money sit there. So $4 versus 50. You know, it's a huge difference. So that's the big appeal of CD. The bank pays you a higher interest rate. Now, when you go looking at CDs, the first thing you're going to notice is the interest rate that the bank's offering, and there's going to be two numbers. There's going to be the interest rate, and there's going to be the annual percentage yield. And the annual percentage yield is going to be a little bit higher because the annual percentage yield includes the interest on the interest. See, when your money's sitting in the CD, the interest that it earns, you can either credit back to the CD and reinvest, or you can have it paid out and just transfer the interest into your checking account every month. So if you credit the interest that the CD earns back into the CD, then you're going to earn the annual percentage yield because you're going to get interest on the interest. Got it? Okay. Another thing you should be aware of is that the interest rate and the annual percentage yield are both annualized numbers. So if you're comparing, say, a 5-month CD to a 9-month CD, the interest rate for both of them is going to be based on how much money you would make if you invested at that rate for a full year. So the math can get a little tricky. Like if you want to figure out how much money you're going to make on your 9-month CD, well, the bank doesn't tell you how much interest you're going to make. The bank tells you how much you would make if it was a 12-month CD paying the same rate. So this gets a little complicated. because I got to take the 12 months, and then I got to back out the 3 months, leaving me with the 9 months. Yeah. There are some nice calculators on the internet where you can just type in the amount that you're putting in the CD and the date and how frequently it compounds. Typically, CD compounds monthly, and then the calculator on the internet will tell you how much it's going to be worth. That's the way to go. Easiest way. I happen to like bank2000.com. It's real easy to use, real simple. Calculate the value of my CD at maturity. Done. What else? Pros and cons. Oh yeah. Pros of a CD, FDIC insured. Your money's not going to disappear like it could in the stock market. It's guaranteed by the bank, and it's guaranteed by the federal government. The CD, it's a fixed rate CD, so even if interest rates drop, your rate is fixed. You might still be getting the, say you buy a CD for 5%, interest rates drop, everybody else is getting 2%, but you're still getting that 5% because it's locked, it's fixed. And it's either way, it's probably a lot higher than you'd be getting in a regular savings account. Cons to a CD? Well, biggest con is that you can't take your money out. That turns a lot of people off. But there's an exception to that. In most cases, you can take your money out, but there's going to be a penalty. There's going to be a fee. And typically that fee is a little bit of interest. You know, maybe like 3 months of interest or 6 months of interest, something like that. Usually the penalty is not even really that bad. It's not like if you put in $1,000, the penalty is $200. A couple of months of interest, that's it. Now I said that there were some different kinds of CDs. A fixed rate CD, I think you pretty much got it, right? You can't add money in, you can't take money out. It's fixed for 3 months or it's 12 months, 4 years, whatever. A variable rate CD, well, it's got a variable rate. The rate can change. So the bank is taking a little bit less risk with the variable rate CD, right? Interest rates go down, your CD rate goes down. Interest rates go up, your CD rate goes up. It's automatic. And because the bank isn't really taking on that interest rate risk, you can add more money into your CD. You can make deposits into it, which you can't do with a fixed rate CD. And that's convenient for most normal human beings, because most people don't have all their money all sitting in a big pile. You know, you get a little bit at a time. So I'm a big fan of the variable rate CD. The only downside is that you can't take your money out until the CD matures, which is maybe every 18 months. You've got a 10-day window when during which you can take your money out. Another kind of CD is it's either called a ready access CD or a risk-free CD or something along those lines. What that means is that you can't make any deposits into it, you can't add money into it, but it's got a fixed interest rate, and you can take your money out anytime you feel like with no penalty. Well, that sounds like a great deal. Why would anybody get a fixed rate CD if I could get this risk-free CD and take my money out anytime I feel like? Well, the downside of that is that it's typically going to pay a lower interest rate because you do have the privilege of being able to take your money out with no penalty. And then lastly, there's something called the callable CD, which is essentially the opposite of the risk-free CD. Instead of you having the option to take your money out, the bank has the option to cancel the contract and to close the CD. Why would they do that? Well, suppose interest rates go down like crazy, and the bank says, why am I still paying this guy 5% when everybody else is getting 2%? They can actually call that CD and close it, and you're stuck, and you have to invest at whatever the current rate is. But because of the risk of the bank calling the CD back, that the callable CDs tend to pay the highest interest rates out of all of them. So those are the basic kinds of CDs, and that's what you've got to know.